Yo, how's everybody doing? This is True Crypto 28, Mr. Anderson. So, we're going to do another video here today. I'm actually starting a couple series. So, this one is going to be on a new series where I'm specifically going to be just going through a ton of educational content and showing people various ways to utilize True Vibration, which is the indicator that many of you have. For those that don't know True Vibration is a tool that has all kinds of use. I'm not going to go too deep into it right now, but ultimately it is a trading tool that has extensive use cases. It also has another feature along with it, which are trading signals as well. And of course, the better that you learn to utilize the tool, the better the signals can be for you also. But the idea here is that, I have a tremendous amount of people that swear by it, only utilize that to trade, and God bless them. And then I have many others that are just trying to learn. And in reality, no matter what anyone tells you in trading, the key is always going to be about the user itself, right? So, I mean, it doesn't really matter what profession you're in. You can have the greatest golf equipment in the world, but ultimately, how good of a golfer you are is going to make a tremendous difference. So, can I provide you some tools that can make you hit a little bit longer, a little bit straighter, and these type of things? Yes, we can do that. But is it going to change your game and make you a pro instantly? No. There's ways about that, and a lot of it is blood, sweat, and tears ultimately. But I'm going to go into this particular series, which PrimeXBT is going to sponsor for me, and ultimately that's going to allow me to drop a lot of videos on the subject. Now, the majority of the videos are actually going to be fairly short in time. This one will not be. This one is going to focus specifically on scalping on a 15-minute and 10-minute time frame. We're going to get into that in a minute. But what I noticed is when I started to watch some of these videos recently, I see someone, they'll give you like one example. They'll say, hey, here's the setup. Here's an example. Sometimes they'll do 3 examples, right? They cherry pick those examples, which is always convenient. So this video I know is going to be longer because there's just no way that I'm going to do that. I'm literally probably going to go through 100 examples, which is going to make it a little longer. I might have to pause it and find the examples and then show you specifically, but I'll make it very clear, right? So I just want to give people extra edge. And with this, it really is just a way for me to say, hey, here's True Vibration. Here's a very simplified way that you can find some edge in looking to trade your scalps and things of that nature. So we're going to talk about that. Anyone tells you that there's ever certainty in trading, that is ridiculous. I'm going to talk about that a lot as well. But one other thing that I'm going to do, I'm giving you a lot of qualifications in the beginning, is that I'm going to do something different with these video series. I have this one and I have a second one that I'm going to be starting as well that's focused more specifically on price action and also just market structure itself. So one and the same, obviously, but I'm going to go scorched earth on that because I noticed that although that's my first rule, which is market structure first always, I realized that it's one of the biggest holes in people's games. And I think it's a lot of this because of what's coming out of social media these days, and it's pretty thin. I actually watched some of those videos as well, and again, that's where I saw the examples that I just spoke about, and man, there is a lot of crazy stuff going on. So it's always back to basics. The basics are what's going to put you in the right spot. Basics combined with, so meaning sound technical analysis, good strategies, edge-based strategies, and then risk management, right? So we'll talk about some of that. We'll see how long we go. Hopefully it won't be too painful. I'm going to try my best to keep it short, as I mentioned. And then, of course, the educational content that I am talking about going forward, every single one of them will be shorter. Now, with this one, again, I've already admitted that this particular video is going to be long. However, with that said, I will say that I know that I'm still not going to stop and teach every little aspect. So there might be things that you miss. So if you're watching this, I would suggest when you're a little bit lost, pause it, write a note. What is that? I got to research this. If I talk about something specifically and it didn't make sense to you, or I mentioned that there's another video, push the pause button, write a little note, put it down as got to look at that later, and kind of just move on from there. I still think you'll be able to pull a lot of help from this. And before we get started, True Vibration is a tool which I do not charge anyone money for. Don't pay anyone for it. You would DM me on Twitter. Someone would get back to you, you inquire, we make you jump through a couple hoops to answer a couple questions of disclosure that frees me of any obligation, lets you know that, no, you're an adult, you can trade for yourself. Again, we make you jump through a couple hoops, and then we have an opportunity for you to get this only one way, which is free of cost, right? Other than that, like I said, contact me if you don't already have it. But for the many of you that already do, enjoy this and feel free to start putting to use, and we'll go from there. Once again, my sponsor, PrimeXBT. Feel free to go here to u.primexbt.com/Mr. Anderson. I will tell you that we do have some ability to give 35% trading account bonuses out. Okay, that's first come, first serve. So how would that work? Well, you would create an account right here, write that down. It'll also be in a link below the video. But you would create a new account, right? Got that? Heard what I said there? Create a new account. I would advise everyone to use a VPN anytime you're utilizing just about anything on the internet, but certainly when you're trading. So I would use a VPN. I would create a new account. I can't say that enough. We're not going to be responding back to give you different directions, okay? So just so everyone understands, right? Once you create the new account and fund that account, if you're interested in the 35%, you can let us know, hey, I funded a new account. It's going to make your life easier. Otherwise, there's going to be a lot of back and forth. I only have one person that answers these, and they have another job that they do, and they're not doing it all day long. But my point is that that's first come, first serve for those. We don't have that many. But ultimately, if I see I get an overwhelming response and everyone's interested, I'll find a way to get some more if I can. But ultimately, that's how that happens. You fund an account. You go ahead and contact me. First come, first serve. We'll go ahead and get those out to you. And a lot of people are you get two types of people, right? You get the people that swear by PrimeXBT. They live for it. Ultimately, they like the fact that you can trade crude and a lot of different assets that you can't trade other places. And then you get some that love to go in straight up degen mode. I'm not your mommy, right? I don't tell you what to do. Ultimately, I'm going to always preach, hey, risk management and things of that nature. So that's completely up to you. But we'll talk about edge-based techniques. If you are going to go about it that way, you can make your decisions on how you want to go about it. Now, with that said, why am I just scrolling over here to this side? Because I just want to kind of show you a little bit of an example. I'm going to give you rules in a minute, so don't worry. But I just want to show you something, right? So for right now, let's kind of get rid of this. And I'm going to bring up True Vibration. Now, most of you are familiar with it. Some of you will see this for the first time. That's okay. Here's what we're going to be looking at. I just want to show you guys something really quick. This is on a setting. I just want to make sure it's on the right setting, which is 845. It is. True Vibration has a lot of settings. There's a lot of strategies, a lot of different things that you could put on. Right now, you're just looking at FSR, which is the main tool within True Vibration, although there are many. And you're looking at a schematic color scheme from a strategy that's called 845. Okay? That's all that's on right here, the color scheme and FSR. Now, it's pretty straightforward. This is an aggressive use of a strategy, right? I can go to one. I'm going to give you an example of what I mean. Again, I'm going to try not to do this too often because I don't want to do this too often. I don't want to put myself in a position where I am stopping over and over again. So over time, you're seeing some red, some green, some red, some green, etc. Back and forth. Red means looking for shorts. Green would be looking for longs, etc. There's a lot of ways to go deeper on that. I'm not going to talk about that on this video. But I want to show you this. This is the aggressive one, which is 845. Now there's another one here where I can change it to a less aggressive that gives you a little bit more, goes for hit rate and time and things of that nature. And the way it works is you stay red. What does that mean? So for those that don't understand this, most people that are already familiar with it do, but once you see red, you'll see some areas where it goes black. Those are resets. Those are resets. So you are red until you're green. You got it? So you're looking for shorts until you're looking for longs. And then when green comes, you are green until you're red again, right? So that is ultimately how it works. There is no sugarcoating that element of it. This is going to be red. I'm not going to put green spots up. When you see blank or black, that's going to mean green just for the time being, because I just want to give you an example here, which is going to look like this. So on this very aggressive setting, I'm just trying to make a little bit of an example here of this particular tool. One, I like to show people like this is not some BS. We're talking about a real trading tool. Again, the key is always you. I'm going to give you the most credit no matter what. But with this real trading tool, this trading tool has significant edge, right? I'm on a 1 hour. I'm not on a daily. I'm not on a weekly. I'm not on any of those things. You're watching me map this out, okay? Right in front of you, I'm doing it, okay? And with that said, what you're going to see is that this is what's been going on during that timeline, okay? That's it. That's enough. By the way, I can keep going back and we'd be here all day, but I really want to cut this example down very quickly. So why am I doing that? Just so you can visually see something. What are you going to visually see? Well, that even on a 1 hour, right? On a 1 hour chart, not a 4 hour, not a 12 hour, not the daily, on just a 1 hour by itself, I'm also not doing multi-time frame, which people that know how to trade understand that, hey, if I do some multi-time frame analysis, I can actually sharpen this up. But with this particular setting, that one that I told you that is a little bit more delicate in the way it is. It's not. This one is not as aggressive. What do we end up seeing here? Forget the moving averages. They don't mean anything right now. We see that you would have been looking for shorts this entire time. So I would assume that that's going to make your life easier. Now, if you want to look at some of the moving averages, then yeah, you might say, hey, on some of these retests or failures, I might get in, get short again. And there's a lot of different strategies that you can use within the tool, etc. And then these are areas you would have been looking for longs. Nothing crazy, right? But a little move up in a counter trend move, etc. Little chop area zone right here where nothing really happened while you're looking for shorts again. Little chop again, that happens. And then remember, this is only on a 1 hour spectrum. Again, you get the massive move down. Again, you catch it. Again, you catch this sizable move down. Now, you'll notice this is chop, and yet we still are catching a significant move down under that. Interesting, right? What happens? It turns green. Remember, these are green when it's not red. You're catching a move up. Now, are you going to catch every move? No. Are you still going to get chopped up? Of course. This is just an example to understand that, hey, for most people, I think most people will understand that if I'm only looking for shorts in this timeline, I probably did well. Same thing here. Would I have gotten chopped up here? Absolutely, that's going to happen. That's trading. And I'm the first to tell you that you should expect some losses in every type of trading scenario you're in because nobody knows the future. Anyone that tells you they do, you should probably run the other way. That person can't help you. So far, I'm kind of blowing some time here. It wasn't my intention. But I just wanted to show you a couple different things, which is that, hey, you can get strategic in your approach and level the playing field. But with this particular example, I'm actually going to use one that's far more aggressive, right? We're going to go into what's called an 845, right? That's just the setting. Don't worry about it. There are plenty of other videos that kind of explain in much detail as to the how and the why and all these different things. Now, I'm not going to map this out right now, other than the fact that since it was here and available, I'm going to show you a couple different things of how you're down and small up. And of course, look, we're in a bearish situation now after you have a mega move down like that. But ultimately, you can see that it's still, even on this aggressive one, catching some very strong moves. With a scalp strategy, I'm going to do something different. Okay, so let's just kind of go in here and go to ETH. Now I have this big mess here. Why? Because I realized while I'm making the video, I said, look, let me just go ahead and map this out, because if I don't, we're going to lose our minds here, right? So I started to do it where I literally was drawing them out in front of you, but then this would have been a 3-hour video. So instead I mapped it out, but here's some rules first. So let's go ahead and jot the rules down. Okay. Now this is called FSR 15-minute and 10-minute scalping with a 1-hour anchor. Okay. No fancy name. I didn't come up with one. Call it FSR scalping if you want. We'll call it whatever you want. We have a lot of different strategies that we utilize with True Vibration. What are the rules that we're going to set? Pretty simple. First rule, again, pause this, write it down, do what you need to do. We're going to look at this and say the 1-hour chart, this is why I just showed you that, needs to be set to 845 with only FSR only, right? Because there's a lot of things that you could have on there, guys. So just really quickly, I don't really need to show you because everyone here will have it. If not, you'll get used to it because we'll give you an intro. So instead of wasting more time, I'll try to catch myself on these things. The point is, the setting's on 845. We're only going to have FSR showing, which is one of the tools, which is called FSR. Number 2, we're going to focus on color changes. Green stays green. I've already announced this, right? Until red, and red stays red until green. What does that mean? While green, we're going to look for longs. While red, we're only going to look for shorts. Pretty simple. Now, we're going to say go to a split screen. I'm going to explain this in a minute. But go to a split screen and set True Vibration on the 15-minute at the same settings. Another aggressive setting, 845. So here we go, split screen. What did I just say? So we're going to go to a split screen like this, and I'm going to have my hourly here and my 15-minute here. Okay, I'll come back to this in a minute so that you fully understand. And I'm going to show you everything so there is no doubt in your mind that we're doing it by the book. I'm going to show you 100, maybe 200 trades. Actually, I said 100 in the beginning, and then when I paused it and actually went and did it, it's probably a couple hundred, right? But regardless of that, you're basically looking at this as, let's see, just kind of moseying about here where I'm at. Okay, so split screen. Now, I'm not going to do this on a split screen because it's going to drive you crazy if I did, and it will look smaller, but you'll see how to do it. And when you're doing it in real time, it's going to help you to do it. I've also added some tools that'll make this a little bit easier, but in the beginning, I want you to see it manually because that's what's going to help you get adjusted to this tool and start to utilize the edge, and you're going to end up seeing a lot more edge. Now, fourth rule, when the 1 hour is green and the 15-minute is green, we will scalp long when FSR is above 50 and switches from falling to rising. Now it says, don't mess this up. See example. What are you talking about, right? All right, so the first thing I did on the 1 hour, just so that you understand, I will let you see it so that there is no problem here. The first thing is I marked this red, right? So during the 1 hour, we had this as a red, right? Why? Because it goes red, stays red until what? Until it's green, right, on the 1 hour. Then here, we go green. By the way, this should go over like that, okay, right? But you kind of get the point. It's red till red, green till green, etc. Now, this was green. Now, I can tell you I'm not doing a lot of different things here. Like, for instance, if you know how to trade a little bit, feel free to utilize whatever capabilities you have for directional bias. If you understand this tool, feel free to whatever you already know that helps you with that as well. Things like the divergence elements, or utilize your support and resistance and things of that nature. This video would be 7 hours long if I put all of that in this, so we're not. We're going to stick to the rules, and I'm intentionally going to not point out a lot of the things that you can do to sharpen it up, because we'll do that on other videos, and you're still going to see that there's significant edge here, okay? Don't mind any of this because all this is going to be on a 15-minute. You're looking at it at a 1 hour because I'm just showing you that what we did is we did match this, right? So now at the moment you see this green is when we're green. And then when you're black, I started here, but I was just trying to speed things along. If you see the black, it's red, okay? So red until green, green until red, right? Red until green, right? All the way down to this level. And then we kind of started it over here. I don't know what happened here. Oh, I see there wasn't many trades. That's why. So it's okay. So we were red. There was a little bit of a green element in here, but there's no trades. I promise you, we're not making things up. That's the only reason why I had it, because there's enough to show you within this. But trust me, check it yourself if you like. It's on ETH. So feel free to look in that area to make sure that I didn't make any mistakes. By the way, could I have missed one or two? Of course I could. And I'll explain some of these things along the ways as I go along. And then we're here. What? Green again. Until red, until this stage right there. And then that blank spot means what? That we're red again on the 1 hour. If you don't understand this, you'll understand in a minute. And then green again, right? See, went green, and we're green until red. So that means we're only looking for longs until that point. And this is all on a 1 hour, and that's what's called our anchor. That's our directional bias in this particular video. That's the only one we're using. Can you use other things? Yes. Can you implement things that you already know? Feel free. I would advise you to start this way so you can see it for yourself. But after that, feel free to filter some more, sharpen it, do what you like to do, etc. What you'll notice is I'm never the type that tries to claim that it's better than it is or anything like that. It's not me. I want people to make money, find edge, etc. In fact, it's the reason why I came up with this concept. This is actually one of the tools that we originally made with Coder Girl to put into the signals, but it just ends up creating so many signals, which you'll understand in a minute, that it really had a negative visual effect on the tool, so I didn't want it to go that way. And it's a little more complicated, which I'll explain. This isn't complicated, it's very simple, but visually it's complicated when you mix it with other signals. So trust me on that one. Let me get a drink here. All right, so obviously this setup part is the hardest, and because I wanted to make sure it's clear. And I also want to make sure that when we jump down to the 15-minute, you trust that I'm actually showing you what I discussed, okay? So I think we can all agree, right? We were green until red, red until green, etc., etc. When we see green, it's up. When it's red, we're looking for down. That's it. And that was here. That was this particular rule. Now, I did want to point out, it's very important that I showed you that we're at this particular rule, which is what? On M15. Okay, I'm going to go to M15. Well, sorry, I'm not going to go to M15. I'm going to split my screen because it's already there. M15 is here. And it says that I should find everything. Now, don't even worry about this right now, because now we're on M15, right? So ultimately, first understand that the color has to match. Trust me, if you're confused, just pause it for a minute. It's not confusing. You need green and green. On a split screen, it would look like green, and you'd say, oh, okay, in times of green, I'm going to look for longs, right? Because I'm green and I'm already in a green, okay? So it's going to be easier than you think ultimately to do so. It's just always more complicated in the setup process. But what I want to show you is this. Right now I have this 50 line that is green, right? And that 50 line, technically when we're looking for longs, we can almost bring things down like this because we're only looking for this tool, FSR, right now it's purple. You can make it any color you want. We're going to look for this scenario right here because I know this will confuse some people. Now, I also changed the tool to have the ability to find these for you on the lower time frame, as long as you make the decision to make sure that your hourly is the same color. That's going to be key here. I didn't want to put that in as a signal because things can get complicated on the multi-time frame when you're looking at it. But the point is, don't learn it that way. Don't start by utilizing the tool to find these. I want you to find some yourself, and then we'll kind of go from there. Now, look how this will work. Ultimately, what I want from FSR, I don't want FSR rising. That's fine, right? So let's imagine that this was FSR. No, what I want is I want it above 50. I want to be in a situation where I'm already green on the 1 hour, right? Anything in this is already green. And now I'm green also on the 15 minute. Remember, you're green until you're red. So we got this whole area. And then I need FSR to fall, any kind of falling on FSR that then reverses above 50. Now, I will tell you this. I have this marked off at the moment with white lines at 55 and 45. Are there scenarios that are not technically qualifiers that kind of come into that 45 and go up and end up being great signals? Yeah, don't worry about them just yet. I might show you a couple just in case. You know, that's where if you got some trading chops, you might utilize some of those as well. But let's just stick to the actual signals for now. And go from that. We'll kind of use a little bit of a hard explanation of 50, right? So you'll see some of these are marked off. Like this would clearly be a signal. Why? Because FSR was falling and then reversed. Now, FSR is unique in that it's a smooth indicator, and one of the reasons why this tends to have a property that helps to find scalps in this situation is the fact that it is not very easy to go from a momentum position of above 50 falling to staying above 50 and rising again. Okay, so without getting too deep into that, that's kind of the basic understanding of the how and the why. And ultimately in trading, I will tell you this, what matters? Do I have the directional bias correct? So that's always going to be the key. I mean, if you end up being in a chop zone, you're probably still going to get a little bit chopped up. Now, this is working already to eliminate that, and you'll see that in a minute for yourself, and I think you'll be very happy with what you see. But regardless, I'm still the first to point out to people that, hey, if the 4 hour is chopping or the 12 hour is really ultra choppy, yeah, you're probably going to get choppy, right? If you go on the 1 hour, green, red, green, red, green, red, green, red, it's probably hard to trade in that environment, guys. Is there a predictable way? Well, there's some ways to look for contraction and things of that nature. And if you already understand that, then yeah, you might know that, hey, maybe I don't want to trade in that environment. I might want to draw myself some trend lines, wait till I break out. I might want to look at a horizontal or horizontal support that I want to get above. All of those things will be helpful, yes. But can you do it straight just the way I'm saying? Yes, okay? What matters now, though, is do you understand what the signal is? And the signal is that I went from a falling FSR, right, to a rising FSR. So that very first close where it rose, right, that's going to be my signal. So when you see these little circles, why? Well, that's because that's a signal, and that's a signal, and that's a signal, good or bad. I don't care. I'm going to show them all to you. Signal, 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 signal. Why? Because it was falling while above 50. This is the 50 mark right here. And then that reversed from falling to rising, both occurring above that 50 level. Great. Awesome. So hopefully you understand that. Shorts are going to be the complete opposite. I would have to be in a position to where I'm red, right? We already talked about that. We're red until we're not, etc. See if we can find one as an example really quickly, and then I will start over and find them all. But an example of this would be, remember, the opposite. So I'm going to only really look at the bottom side at this point. And that's going to look like this. Now, when I look, I'll shorten this so it's not so crazy looking. I just want people to understand this. Again, I know this is dragged out, but it's the most important element. And if you're going to make 1,000 trades off this, then you probably want to know how to do it the correct way. So my apologies for taking time, but I find this stuff is very relevant. And I don't want people to, first of all, I don't want 1,000 questions on it, right? So that's the key part. But ultimately, if I repeat it enough and then show you 1,000 examples or 100 examples at least, then you're going to have a better understanding, and then feel free to go crazy and start doing it yourself. Now, again, It's up to you, of course, right? This isn't financial advice or anything along those lines. I'm just showing you something that works very well for me, and I think it will work very well for yourself. Now, here we go. We're in a situation again to where we say, what? Falling under 50. Now I've raised this, so this is 50 level. It's falling under 50. And for a short, I'm going to need it to rise. And it could rise as much as it wants. It could rise all the way to here, would be a signal, as long as it doesn't rise above 50. So I want it to rise and then fall again, right? Perfect, just like that. And I'm going to talk to you in a minute about take profits. We're going to talk about risk reward, things of that nature a little bit. And then we'll just show the examples. So again, that would be a short. That would be a short. Why? It rose and then started to fall again. So that first close where it's falling again, right there, that's your scalp. First close when you're falling again, that's your scalp. Now, I already know that the video is going to go long, right? So for the 10-minute, you do the same thing, the exact same thing. Everything the same on the 1 hour, except you would be on a 10-minute chart to do the same thing, and you can do the same exact types of trades, okay? So we'll just probably not going to get to examples on the 10-minute. We'll see. Again, I don't want this to be a 2-hour video. So here we are right there. Another example, another example. I'm not going to talk about wins and losses right now. I promise you I'm going to go back over every single one of these yet again. At the end, it was just very important that we show you exactly how to do it, right? So I think you do understand that. You should have this written down. Ultimately, if you do great, you're ahead of the game, and we'll show you the rest, and we'll go from there. All right. So longs, shorts, boom, perfect, right? Now I did already mention that I'll also show you in the 10-minute. Again, I just mentioned it, that is basically going to be the same. But you also notice what I said here. Use the things you know. What things can be helpful? Swing failure patterns, head and shoulders if you know it, double tops, double bottoms. These are things you can look up on your own, of course, right? Am I going to make videos on this coming up soon? I am. I'm going to make very short videos on these type of important elements, because I'll mention it a second time. I see people are really struggling with basic price action and basic understanding of market structure. Anything you know in reference to that, meaning you don't just think it, but you know it and you use it effectively, it's going to help you in these type of things. I always tell people, like, yeah, use the stuff you know and implement what you feel good and you're strong about, etc. Just be careful. So people think they're good and they're losing traders, and it's like, no, man, you might be using something that actually is negatively affecting you and you haven't figured that part out. So the biggest and most important thing is know thyself, learn thyself, be honest with thyself, protect me from me. I got to protect myself from myself, right? Maybe I'm an overly aggressive guy. I got to implement some rules that make sure I'm not going to blow my wad or fall in love with a trade or anything like that. Okay. So we went through all the rules, right? Hopefully you got your own version written down, because I'm probably not going to come back to this at all. I'm just going to now go all the way back as far as I can. Let's see. Now, by the way, I could have put all this in there. Didn't do so, right? So we're not doing any of that. That would have been really easy to show you just how well we crushed it. No, instead, I'm actually going to show you this section here, how we led into a drop zone. But I'm also going to show you like this chop zone. See how choppy this is? This is super choppy, right? And we're going to talk about this and show you, like, hey, bad trades, how you can get lost, why that happens, how you can kind of avoid some of it if you want. So I want to show that, and I want to show also that you can make a lot of money still in some of these zones, even when it's choppy like that. And then, of course, when you are trending, yeah, that's when you're going to make the most, of course, utilizing this type of strategy. But there's ways to adjust yourself, and you got to go through a few hundred of them to really begin to learn and understand. So just be aware of that and understanding. I'll tell you this, and I'll probably repeat it later. If you're not comfortable with it, or when you're not comfortable with it in the beginning, go ahead and put yourself into a position where you say, hey, you know what? I'm going to wait until, I'm just going to save some of these so I don't have to redo it. I'm going to wait till I'm comfortable. What would that mean? Do I mean don't trade? No. Instead of using your full position, maybe use half a position. Instead of using half, maybe use 25%. Use 10% of a normal position. So, if you normally trade $1,000, maybe trade 100. If you normally spend 10,000, maybe just trade 10,000. Excuse me. If you normally trade 10,000, maybe just trade 1,000 at risk. Things of that nature. It's up to you. How it depends how comfortable you are. I mean, obviously, it's not going to do you any good if you're completely a noob to trading and you blow all your money day one because you don't really understand it. No, just start smaller and you say, okay, you know what? I'm starting to get the feel for this. I understand. And then you can get back up to normal position size if that's what it takes. If you're already comfortable with it, then trade your normal way. Don't get overly excited either and go crazy and decide, hey, I'm going to get rich today, because that's what some people do, because you're probably going to see like, hey, this looks like it works pretty damn well. Yeah, it does, right? So with that, you can get overly excited, and I promise you, despite the fact that I might show you, 10 winners in a row at some point, that doesn't mean you can't lose 10 in a row, right? You can get chopped up in trading. You better damn well expect it and understand it, okay? All right, so here we go. We're going to start off here, and we're going to point out a couple things. So what have I done? Why do I have this little box here? That's just to show you where that 50 line is, right? And ultimately, as I mentioned, we're already red here. This is highlighted because we've seen on the 1 hour that we were red. Normally, we would have a split screen. So if you were doing this by yourself, you'd have that hourly up, making sure like, hey, I'm red until I'm not. I'm going to only trade shorts when I'm red, etc., and kind of go from there. But I want to give you some examples first of some of this. Now, I will go ahead just to save some time and bring this up, which is basically another version, just so that you can understand, like, hey, you're going to have the ability to see these little signals here. I want you to understand that this signal is only looking at the time frame that we're on. So right now we're on the 15-minute. If I put it on a 10-minute, it would only be looking at the 10-minute. Right now it's only looking at the 15-minute, but you'll see one green. Well, what does that mean? Well, that is an Fsr pivot signal, which means that, yes, green means that it bull pivoted above 50, okay? Well, that's fine, but while we're in red, that's useless, right? So I didn't want to turn that off. So I don't have it off. I'm going to expect you as the user to understand that, right? But it's going to make my life easier a little bit here while I'm giving these examples to see where these are at. And I have most of them circled already anyway. But ultimately, I'm going to utilize this to show you, and then I can kind of point out, like, yeah, I'm not lying. It really is falling, right? So let's go ahead and do that for now. I actually might just go ahead and give this guy the old off button by chance for now. Might even shrink it a little bit. Let's move this guy up just so visually we can make your life easier and make this process a little quicker. Okay, so we're already red. We've already established that. We're going to get into some trades. How are the trades going to work, right? Oh, okay, well, the trades are going to work like this. We're going to say FSR right here. So remember, green we're not going to worry about at all because we're only looking for shorts. So we need to be, first of all, in red, right? So we need red to match red, right? And that's all automatically with these particular signals, but I want you to learn how to do them manually, as I mentioned. And that is going to give me here, I'm picking this one out in the beginning on purpose because it's a little bit tricky, and I want you to see this, okay? Why am I picking this one out? Because it looks kind of struggling as a signal, right? So I want you to see that. Now, a couple different things. No excuses. I don't care if we chalk that up as a loss right away. I never care about that at all. It's not something I worry about, right? But what I do want to show you is the reason why I started here is really, very specific for this reason, is I want to point out that under a normal circumstance, the way you're going to decide where your stop is completely up to you. You can do two things. One, the right way would be your most recent pivot. What's going to be a pivot? Well, pivot's going to be where I had a pivot, a reset of my oscillator here, right? My tool, right? And price action. So more important than anything is the price action pivot, which is going to be here. So first and foremost, after a drop like this and a candle like that, you have the right to say, well, why the hell would I take that trade? This thing just dropped down to range lows. I probably want to short something that's a little bit more of a bounce or something along those lines. But again, call it a loss. I don't care about that part. Trust me, I'll never care about that. But I do want to help you make your own decisions and work towards making your own decisions. It may not be easy in the beginning, but ultimately, the reality is you would want a stop on something like this. And I'm going to tell you to put your stops above your most recent pivot high. And usually it's going to be 1 ATR. I'm not going to explain that on this video. I've done it on past videos. You pull up a tool that's called ATR. You look at 1 ATR. How much does it equal? You know, if it's $8, you say, all right, $8 above that level. And you go ahead and that's how you would set it. Now, for me, for this particular example, right, the way I'm going to look at things, I'm going to tell you that these things have a pretty high hit rate. So for scalps, I personally want a risk-reward ratio of around 1.2 to 1. Now, you might say, well, I don't like that. I want a risk-reward ratio to 1.4 to 1. I like 1.5 to 1. It's up to you. You know, some guys are going to be like, oh, I want 3 to 1, 5 to 1. Great. Good for you. This is scalping, right? In scalping, if you want to do 2 of those a week, feel free. Or, you know, maybe you find 2 a way because you're scouring the charts. That's up to you. Excuse me, 2 a day. But typically speaking, you're not going to come across that, oh, look at this, 25 to 1 type of risk to reward. And this is high frequency. I shouldn't say high frequency. Higher frequency type of scalping and trading and things of that nature. That's kind of the idea. You know, once you get good at this, you can watch several different assets at once. I watch a few at once when I'm doing it. And that can help you to find trades a little bit quicker. But for the purpose of this, I'm going to use something like a 1.2 to 1, right? Which is going to be, again, things like using this tool. I'm not going to teach how to use this tool. Hopefully, I'm going to assume you understand that on TradingView. If not, you can kind of look it up. Why? Well, if I hit 50%, you know, 1-to-1 minus trading fees, I'm almost break even, right? At 1.2, I don't even need to be there ultimately. So let's say if I do hit 50%, I'm still going to come out okay on a 1.2 to 1. I can tell you this is going to hit over 50%, okay? Well over, okay? But regardless, let's just say it. So now I'm utilizing this back one here. So I'm going to give you a couple examples because technically if we do utilize that, we never get stopped out here, right? You end up getting this big move back. But you can do something else in scalping on 15 and 10 minute. You have every right to say, well, you know what? I trust my own stops. I don't want this thing to go beyond 1 ETR above the top side of this most recent range, right? Something like that. And that's okay. And there's a benefit to that I will also point out, which is that now I can bring my risk reward if I want that, you know, 2 to 1, let's say 1.5 to 1, whatever it is, much higher like this. And then of course in this case, although it was not a loss here, it would end up being a loss in this example. But also notice that we're getting our reward much quicker in this environment, in that situation. Now, are you gonna bring your percentage down? Yes, but it will still work pretty well, okay? It's up to you. I'll let you play with that. I'll let you make your own decisions. Personally, I would say the reality is your stops normally are going to be your most recent swing on that on that time frame that you're on, because you got to think of things as just normal market structure, right? And say, all right, here we go. You know, where am I wrong? I'm wrong when the structure breaks, right? So ultimately, that's typically the situation. But do it how you like, right? Ultimately, you're going to see that both will work very well. I'm giving you one example where it works one way and loses the other way, and I did that intentionally just so that everyone understands that was kind of the point of this, right? But as we go along and we look at some different options here, give you an example here, same type of thing right here. In this one, we're starting way down here, but you might say, well, look, I'm not going to allow this to basically put myself in a position where I come back above that candle, and I would completely understand anyone that said that. Well, something interesting happens here where you get this huge drawdown, right? You would have actually hit profit, right, on this next candle. So here's one that actually works in the opposite manner. So it's up to you of how you want to go about it again, because ultimately that stop would have been 1 ATR above that and probably would have hit if I used the initial stop that I want. Now, for the examples, I'm going to utilize the stops that are a little more conservative, like I said. So that stop is going to be something like that. But I do want to point out that, hey, in this situation, you were opening yourself up at 1.2. And although this looks bad, this would have been a winner. So it's an interesting thing. None of this has anything to do much with what we're going to talk about in a minute. But it is something for you to think about as a trader to understand, like, hey, how aggressive do I want to be? And understand that it can make a tremendous difference, because we gave an example where one was a winner, one was a loser, and then the exact opposite happened in this situation. So that's why I actually started over there. In case anyone's wondering, I happened to notice that, said, oh, you know what, that would be a good place to start. Now, for this, I will show a couple more examples when I'm putting in risk reward. And then after that, of course, this is very time consuming already. I'm already well into this particular video and I don't want that. But I will show you what. Here's the next signal, which is right here. And then after that, we'll just start marking signals, and you'll have a rough idea, being that we're utilizing somewhere between a 1.2 to a 1.5. You'll notice some go much further. I'll give a couple more examples on this, and then we'll kind of break from this particular element of how we go about it, right? Same thing again. Do I want to go above my swing? It really depends also. Look, you know, what asset are we trading? How far away is it? You know, we're talking about a stop now that is $30 away. That's far, right? That's a big stop. That's several percentage points in that situation. So same thing though, if I look at how that would have worked out, and I come in and say, well, I did want to do a 1.2. It gave me some room again, and this ends up being a winner. Now, the other side that I want to point out is, like, look, in most cases, it's not going to matter too much because these are scalps. So as long as I am utilizing the recent range, let's say, so I don't always have to go back to the range high, but, you know, I did say, all right, for people that understand lower high, right? At least go back to the most recent one, I would say. and that's going to make some sense. And then 1 ATR above that. Now, if we utilize this, first of all, you could probably use about a 1.5 to 1 or better in that situation. But for me, the way I say it, look, these are TP1s, right? What does that mean? Take profit 1 means I'm cutting maybe half my position initially, right? I'm cutting somewhere along those lines. I'll let you guys make those decisions as well. And then after that, I'm basically making sure that I'm bringing everything into a scenario where I'm not going to lose on the remainder. Maybe I go to break even. So I move my stop to something like a break even on the rest of the position in that situation, and then give myself more wiggle room to possibly go to that 2 to 1, 3 to 1 on some. If something runs on me, I might be left over with some. And I kind of take profits along the way. Now, one thing I will tell you is that as I make lower lows, right, so as this is sign of weakness, right, so if I get a big sign of weakness candle like that, I'm probably going to range out. This one happens to go further down, but I'm probably still going to close another half my position, even right there, especially on this one. You might say, oh, what do you mean especially on that one? Well, a little bit of a swing failure, right? Meaning in this situation. So it's not that this looks great, but it does open the door that, hey, I could close back in, which I did here, but I could close back in this range and then maybe even go test this top side and have weakness here, which would bring other ways to trade into this and say, hey, this is where there's some definite weakness up here. I don't know that it's going to flush out. And for the most part, I'm scalping. So I have no problems taking another half right there, definitely right there, and then kind of just getting down to maybe 10% max left in my position on that original trade that was up here. I am not a guy that's trying to tell you like, oh yeah, I'm trying to get 15 or 20 to 1 on every scalp. I'm going to show you so many trades right here and now over these next 15 minutes that you're going to see that that doesn't matter. My goal is see profit, take profit, right? See profit, take profit, okay? And ideally, you can make whatever adjustments you'd like ultimately because the hit rate is good enough here that it's not going to matter. But I did want to spend a little bit of time on that. I probably should do a whole video on risk to reward and things of that nature. I can kind of give you some explanation as to why, in reality, a lot of it is a meme, right? That's okay. But also, I'll tell you still how you can utilize it to your advantage, okay? I probably won't come back to that again. Don't need it to show you the rest of this. We just wanted to touch base a little bit. What do we see here? One hell of a winner right there in that spot. I'm going to borrow this guy for now, which is right there. We'll go to the circles later. And what are we going to see? Okay, well, first, again, this comes into one of these intricacies here to where I basically would have had to go short here. Depending on where I put my stop, again, this is either a loss or ends up being a great win. I'm going to let you make those decisions, but I promise you it's not going to matter. We're just ultimately running through a zone here to where we happen to get some of these interesting scenarios, which is why I chose it. But ultimately, you're usually not going to be in that tough of a situation. It's just all about how you yourself go about this. Now, again, I did bring this up earlier, and I won't focus too much on it. That, you know, guys that really have some trading chops here, I'll tell you what, structurally speaking, this is a sign of weakness. Price better get back up and live in this sign of weakness and try to damage. You know, the bulls have to try to attack this. Again, it's another video. I told you I'm going to go scorched earth on this kind of stuff. Hold on one second. By the way, I'm literally getting over COVID right now, in case everyone's wondering, so I apologize for that. If you get any more of those coughs, I haven't talked this long just yet. But regardless, I'm going to go scorched earth on things like market structure, price action, etc. Very quick thing. Of course, you can still trade the way you trade and see the things you see naturally. And one of those things would be this. Coming up into the zone, barely getting into this little, even though it's on a 15-minute, that is a sign of weakness. You came in, you lost it. This is a short all day. You know what I mean? Of course, I'm shorting that in that situation. It's not a signal, so don't worry. I'm not saying that or suggesting that. Just making a point here so that people understand that, hey, still do the things you do and still utilize this tool the way it was meant to be, okay? All right, so here we go. Next one is right there. Why? Because FSR was going up. It's below 50, and it falls. Okay, here we go. Guess what? That's a win. We get another one right here, and again, our stop's going to be about 1 ATR above this level on the normal circumstances, right? That's your most recent lower high. Now, look how long this drags out. You get another short right here. So now I'm short and I'm short. Okay, I'm going to act like we take them all. Again, now one thing with this is, although I like to get out of positions quicker, you notice how this is never challenged at any point, even if we just look at the range high here. Never challenged at any point at all. And in fact, I will tell you this, is that if you broke this down, if anyone that knows me and knows my videos or anything along those lines, it's pretty obvious here that this is basically never even gets back to the midpoint, certainly never gets into the value zone for the short that you would like to short up here, which would be nice. But what it ends up doing is what? It falls back into dump susceptible zone, right? For anyone that knows me, if you don't know that, that's another video that already exists again. And you can watch that in one day, and I'll probably make a whole video on that too. So I'm just kind of teasing all the videos that are coming. But regardless, why dump susceptible? Because this thing damn sure is dump susceptible, and guess what's about to happen? You're going to get a dump, right? So that's why I call that dump susceptibility. Regardless, we'll work on that another day. I know many of you already know about that, but that's a good example as to the how and the why. But regardless, we have short, and then, you know, we're probably hanging out. Now, I get it. If you covered here because you didn't want to be in this position any longer, sometimes I do that as well. But if you were watching and saying, hey, I'm dump susceptible, I'm happy to stay in, I get another short signal right there. You are 3 signals in. Great. That works out well. And guess what? You got 3 positions and it ends up dumping out if that's the case. Okay, that works. Now, next one happens right there. A little bit of a bounce back. I'm in here. Guess what? Winner. Next one is there. Guess what? Winner. Next one is here. Winner. Next one is here. You say, wow, why so many? Well, that's what's happening right now. You know, we're in one of those zones. Great. Winner, right? Next one happens right here. Winner. Again, I'll let you decide on the exits. You know, you'll take a TP1, obviously, that's going to match with your risk reward. But after that, it's up to you. Make sure to bring yourself into a position to where now you can't lose, but let you make your own decisions. Hey, am I going to go range low, right? Again, know your swing failures, know your double bottoms, things of that nature, right? So, hey, if I see something like this, I'm probably taking some extra profits in that situation, okay? That happens. Would have I been wrong to do so? Yeah, sort of, right? But then maybe when I see something like this, hey, that's hidden bear divergence. Okay, this is a good reason kind of to re-enter in this situation. By the way, if you're good at rectangles, draw your rectangles out. This is a zone, right? This went down, came back to top side, rejection within the zone, snuck out, tried to get back in, lost it, goodbye, right? Guess what? Shadow resistance here, come back in, completely rejected it. This is an ugly formation, right? Okay. Again, those are little tidbits that I promise I'm going to stop with the tidbits soon. You only get a few more after that, and we'll just save those for those videos. But now, here's one. Major sign of weakness down. So if you say, man, I'm not entering that, I just had a $60 drop, whatever it is, in 15 minutes, I completely understand that. But I told you that I'm going to take every single one of these for the purpose of this video, right? So let's do it. If you say, oh, it's too much, I got to wait, maybe I want it to come back, I understand that. I would like this to come back and get tested as well, or I would like to throw a little bit of a fib on here and say, hey, show me something if you could, maybe get me back up in this zone, and it goes out, then I'm going to say, all right, well, this is going to be now probably on a higher time frame, but I'm still focused on my golden ratio, like this. Let's see, something like this, and say, hey, I would love to get back in there, whether I go from golden ratio 0.65 to the midpoint. I'm in a wholesale zone, and these would be reasons also to try to take along, and then when it overcomes that, hey, good job. But ultimately, you can do that if you want, right? That's up to you. But for the purpose of this video and these scalps, the only signals that are showing up are here. Guess what? Still a winner. Here, still a winner. Never hit any type of stop. Still a winner. Still a winner. Now this one a little tighter. Let's just see. Close. Let me actually look, because we did just run off like 7 in a row. 1452. It stretched as low as, so it's a $30 move. All right, that's still over 2%. So yes, that's a winner. If you didn't catch over 2, take some profits in that, then that's on us as the trader if that happens ultimately. So yeah, another winner. But look at this one, absolute loser, right? So after getting like 7 in a row here, this is going to happen. You'll find that this does happen. Now look, is that some bull divergence? It is. But do you know that on the spot? No, this is a smooth indicator. You're not always going to recognize that. I completely understand. It's just the nature of the business. Now, why does it happen? Well, why does it happen? Because you're on a 15-minute chart, right? Maybe the 1 hour is going to reset. Maybe the 2 hour is going to have some mean reversion. This is normal. That's trading. It happens. It's okay. Be a man, be a woman. Get out when that happens. That's it. I see this, I get an immediate bullish engulfing, etc. Maybe I minimize my damage by not even waiting for a stop if that happens. That's up to you, but I'll let you get used to that on your own. I'm going to keep moving this guy along because this seemed like a good way to kind of peek at these. So I'm red and I'm red. Remember, don't forget, I got to be red on my hourly and red on my 15-minute. Guess what? Here we are. We're red. We go back to this level. That's going to be our stop, 1 ATR above. Doesn't hit, gets close, right? We get another test here, by the way. Probably a good spot to maybe add if you like, but again, we're not going to get into that. We're only looking at the signals. This one ends up being, I'm going to save that. This one ends up being a winner, right? So that's a winner. And there we go. All right. All right, so we're 50 minutes into this thing here. So I'm going to speed this one up here just to show you the rest. And now I promise you, you'll see the signals here, so there's no lie. So what ends up happening? Winner, 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 winner. See how I'm speeding through? Winner, 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 winner. Greens we're not looking at, only reds. Winner, winner, winner. Wow, that was like a 14 in a row here, right? God bless you. Winner, winner, winner. It's not always going to happen, guys, but we did get that here. Winner, 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 winner. And then we switch over to green. All right, we switch over to green. Time for only looking for greens. Winner, winner, loser, loser, winner, winner. Maybe, maybe not. Depends on your stop. Winner. Notice how it never fell back, so that's a winner. Then we go to a nothing zone again, back into longs. No signals though. I'm sorry, actually there are signals, so we're gonna look at these as winner, 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 winner. Call that one a loser. Let's call this a loser, so you're gonna get those when you're a little bit toppy here, right? I don't know if they're losers, but I just realized how long this video is, so I'm gonna cut it down to just showing you some of these examples. As I said, I would run them through. And then remember, red. When we're not green, we're red. So loser, loser, excuse me. Forgive me. These are shorts. Winner, 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 winner. 4 in a row, 5 in a row, 6 in a row, 7 in a row, 8 in a row, 9 in a row, 10 in a row, 11 in a row, 12, 13, 14, 15 in a row. These are some losers, okay? It's not always going to happen. You're not going to have 15 in a row streaks, but they will happen. You're going to be a happy guy when they do happen. Ultimately, winner, loser, loser. These are a couple losers in a row. These are both winners, etc. Back to longs. Winner, 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 winner. Loser for sure, right at the top. You caught that one. Winner, winner. I'll call these both losers. This is a winner. Winner. No, let's call that a loser, loser. Winner, winner, winner. Winner, 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 winner. All of these winners. And now here's a whole series of losers that I remember. And I'm going to leave with this one. This one gives you the long. Now, this one might have been a win in between there, okay? But now something interesting happens. You get a bear divergence, right? The only reason I showed this is that if I get bear divergence, it goes divergence down to this, and I get 1, 2, 3 signals in a row here, right? On a bear divergence, and it has a situation here to where you say, okay, I got this bear divergence, and ultimately I fell back. So these ended up being losers. I got to draw myself a trend line. This is just a little extra tidbit. Look how this trend line goes, because ultimately you're looking for shorts until then. But regardless, I do want to show you that this ends up being a terrible streak of winners, and that can happen on the 15-minute chart. So you end up with 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 losses in a row. Remember I told you that would happen. I'm sorry, this is not. 6 losses in a row. Then it switches to shorts, and then that's a good sign that, hey, maybe it needs to be shorts. Short, so that's winner, winner, loser, winner, 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 winner. There might have been a loss there that I just called a winner. Forgive me. Back to longs, loss, win, win. These are sideways, so they end up being wins. Win, 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 win. Okay, winner, 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 winner. Win, 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 win. You see all this? These are all winners, right? Losses up there. I'm going to end this because I'm 50-something minutes in, but you kind of get the point. Utilize it. Practice a lot. You should try a few hundred trades. I'm out.